1. Scholarship essay example for masters. Being African, I recognize Africa's need for homegrown talent in the form of planners, assistants with possible solutions, and searchers, those with desperate need, working towards international development. I represent both. Coming from Zimbabwe, my greatest challenge is in helping to improve the livelihoods of developing nations through sustainable development and good governance principles. The need for policymakers capable of employing cross-jurisdictional and cross-disciplinary strategies to solve complex challenges cannot be underemphasized. Hence my application to this scholarship program. After graduating from Africa University with an honors degree in sociology and psychology, I am now seeking scholarship support to study in the United States at the master's level. My interest in democracy, elections, constitutionalism and development stems from my lasting interest in public policy issues. Accordingly, my current research interests in democracy and ethnic diversity require a deeper understanding of legal processes of constitutionalism and governance. As a master's student in the U.S., I intend to write articles on these subjects from the perspective of someone born, raised, and educated in Africa. I will bring a unique and much-needed perspective to my graduate program in the United States. And I will take the technical and theoretical knowledge from my graduate program back with me to Africa to further my career goals as a practitioner of good governance and community development. To augment my theoretical understanding of governance and democratic practices, I work with the Zimbabwe Election Support Network, ZESN, as a programs assistant in the Monitoring and Observation Department. This not only enhanced my project management skills, but also developed my skills in research and producing communication materials. ZESN is Zimbabwe's biggest election observation organization, and I had the responsibility of monitoring the political environment and producing monthly publications on human rights issues and electoral processes. These publications were disseminated to various civil society organizations, donors and other stakeholders. Now I intend to develop my career in order to enhance Africa's capacity to advocate, write and vote for representative constitutions. I also participated in a fellowship program at Africa University, where I gained greater insight into social development by teaching courses on entrepreneurship, free market economics, and development in needy communities. I work with women in rural areas of Zimbabwe to set up income-generating projects such as the Jatrapa soap-making project. Managing such a project gave me great insight into how many simple initiatives can transform lives. Your organization has a history of awarding scholarships to promising young students from the developing world in order to bring knowledge, skills and leadership abilities to their home communities. I have already done some of this work, but I want to continue, and with your assistance, I can. The multidisciplinary focus of the development programs I am applying to in the U.S. will provide me with the necessary skills to creatively address the economic and social development challenges and develop sound public policies for third world countries. I thank you for your time and consideration for this prestigious award. 2. Scholarship essay examples about yourself. I have known in my heart since I was a little girl what I wanted to be when I grew up. It was not a stereotypical child's dream such as a doctor or an astronaut. My vision was instead something that has shaped my actions and decisions throughout my life. In the last few years I have realized that my passion for conserving the environment is a natural calling that I am destined to follow. This intuitive notion solidified while visiting my mother in Maryland a few summers ago. In my old bedroom my mother has kept framed memorabilia from my childhood. One night before I went to sleep I looked on the bedstand to find an old article that dated back to my 3rd year of elementary school. After rereading this article 13 years later, with a smile, I recognized my destiny is and has always been devoting my career to the conservation and preservation of our ecosystems. In my 3rd grade class we attempted to introduce higher biodiversity along a creek through adding plants, which in turn attracts other organisms. Some of the older teenagers had rampaged through and stole our plants while trampling the beautiful ecosystem. I wanted to send a message to stop such destruction, and the following article ended up in our town newspaper. Although I was only in 3rd grade, The destruction of the environment affected me more deeply than most of my fellow classmates and continues to do so today. I wish to embark on an educational journey to beautiful Montverde, Costa Rica for the Tropical Ecology and Conservation Program in the spring of 2009. In order to take this step in my educational career, I am applying for financial aid through the John E. Bowman Travel Grants, CIEE International Study Program Scholarships, and the Jennifer Ritzman Scholarship for Studies in Tropical Biology. Throughout my life I have always been passionate about contributing to the conservation of Earth. It became clear to me upon entering my college career that my focus should be in wildlife conservation. When I learned about this program I became ecstatic. Partaking in this unique opportunity will prepare me for my future career goals and aid to my growth as a conservationist and a young woman. While participating in this program I will apply the knowledge and resources learned during the courses that I take in Costa Rica to real-world situations. I will be working in the field amongst other scientists and gaining hands-on experience, which will enrich my current education and my future career. Furthermore, I will be able to contribute to the conservation of the tropical forest through my education as well as gain a better cultural understanding of the world around me. I come from a broken home and was raised by my mother on a very low income. Thus I do not receive any financial support from my family and little from the federal government to fund my college education. Therefore my financial needs are very high. Throughout my life I have strived to achieve my goals solely on hard work and determination. For example, the last 5 years that I have attended school I have struggled to receive enough federal loans to pay my tuition and have been working at night while attending school in order to barely scrap by. However, I feel like this makes me a stronger person and gives me greater passion for what I am trying to achieve. At this moment in time my situation is even more extreme than ever. Instead of working full-time all summer to save money, I have been going to summer school in order to complete required courses before I depart for this program in the spring. The demands of summer school leave me no time for a part-time employment. Consequently, in order for me to embark on this incredible opportunity I am extremely reliant on grants and scholarships to see this experience come to fruition. These scholarships and grants will assist me in achieving my goals through supporting my trip expenses in Costa Rica. In essence they will allow me to receive an excellent education in an amazing country, as well as apply this knowledge to help conserve our precious ecosystems that are in danger of ultimate destruction and demise. Likewise, by supporting my education these funds will enable me to spread my newfound insight and knowledge to further educate the people around me as I plan to teach in conservation programs such as the Student Conservation Corps. I thank you so much for your consideration. 3. Leadership. What makes a good leader? Great leaders are often revered and even worshipped. However, what is the secret behind their admiration? Are there certain characteristics that distinguish a leader from another person? In most cases, good leaders want those under him or her to succeed, are visionaries, are inspiring, guide others towards an outcome, and are great at self-assessment. Though there are many other qualities of good leaders that can be mentioned, these are the main ones that contribute to their position. Though people who manage others are often self-serving, true leaders want those they work for to accomplish team goals. According to Meredith Moore Crosby from Leverett Weeks, the jump from individual contributor to leader is a mindset shift to care about the broader organization outside of daily responsibilities. Leaders take on challenges instead of waiting for assignments. Leaders build organizations and help managers understand their function. Leaders study the organization and contribute beyond their role by developing managers, counsel, Forbes coaches. Unlike managers, leaders are more holistic workers rather than micromanagers. Leaders, besides wanting their teams to succeed, are also visionaries. Alan Zimmerman, with a PhD in communication, notes that many people would argue that the best CEO, maybe not the best person, of the 20th century was Jack Welch, the former chairman of General Electric. When asked for his thoughts on leadership, he echoed the same sentiment. Leadership starts with vision. Leaders are visionaries. Real leaders seek to challenge the norm and look for fresh ideas in their sphere of work. Through these visions, they inspire their subordinates. And speaking of inspiration, leaders are known to be profound inspirers. They can easily increase the morale of a group and push those that are downtrodden towards a common goal. As leadership coach Chris McRae Scrutchfield says, a leader creates a path forward with people using curiosity to hear ideas from their perspective. They inspire themselves and others to be the best they can be while stretching beyond what's comfortable. Being a leader begins from within, not outside ourselves, counsel Forbes coaches. Commonly, leaders begin by being self-inspiring. They know how to motivate themselves, and from this basis, they know how to motivate others. In addition to motivation, leaders act as guides. Instead of being forceful with directions, leaders help others understand what they need to do, complete certain tasks without being oppressive. They have the best in mind for their team and want to bring out the best out of every individual. Another part of being a guide is that leaders are continuously examples of what to be within a company, an organization, or a team. This means that leaders need to be ethical, well-mannered, and diligent in order to impress upon his or her staff. Despite all the amazing qualities leaders possess, they cannot do without self-assessment. According to the University of Notre Dame, knowing your areas of weakness does not make you weak. On the contrary, it allows you to delegate to others who have those abilities in order to achieve the common goal, rather than clinging to the false belief that they can do it all. Great leaders hire people who complement, rather than supplement, their skills. Working on your areas of weaknesses will improve your leadership ability, and recognizing them makes you more human. What makes an effective leader? The worst thing for a leader is to get egotistic about his or her position, and to believe he or she can do it all, or that being in a position is all that matters. Leaders come in all shapes and sizes, but there are several qualities that form what a great leader is. Commonly, competent leaders desire those under him or her to succeed, are visionary in their work and goals, are inspiring to the masses, guide others towards an endpoint, and are proficient in self-assessment. As mentioned before, there are many other characteristics that comprise great leaders. However, these are the main ones that appear in the majority of shining examples of leaders. 4. Nursing scholarship essay example. I am determined to be the best nurse I can be. To be a person of assurance for the patient, to be confident in my skills and abilities to help the patient. And most importantly, to be the patient's advocate and champion for their health and well-being during a time when they cannot do it for themselves. I firmly believe it is the nurse, who has to be 100% committed and who has empathy and compassion, that makes the best nurse and can make the most dramatic difference in a patient's life when they are most vulnerable. That is my dream, my goal, to be that nurse a patient can truly rely on, and to do my best to hone my medical skills and knowledge to stay on top of every possible medical option. Becoming a nurse for me is simply not a job or career choice for me, but a calling. I earned a Bachelor of Arts in Journalism in 2000, always having a love of writing and communication. I worked as a newspaper reporter for 8 years and I loved it. But in 2003, I got married and began my family. 20 weeks into my first pregnancy, my son was diagnosed with a rare and fatal bone disorder called campomelic dysplasia. I had the awful experience of losing my son, and it was shortly thereafter I developed a pulmonary embolism as a result of the trauma during delivery. I spent 12 days in the hospital, on a regimen of Coumadin and heparin, and it was the nurses who tended to me that helped me both physically and emotionally cope with what I was going through. I had multiple visits with the perinatologist before and after I lost my son, and I found inspiration in the nurses I came into contact with. Also having Graves' disease, I eventually had to have a thyroidectomy, and 3 months after that surgery, I had an emergency appendectomy. To say I was in the hospital and in doctors' offices quite a bit is an understatement. I became fascinated with the world of medicine and the art of nursing. From my curiosity, a calling soon became clear to me. During the past 8 years or so, I have developed an extensive knowledge of medicine through my own experiences as a patient. Researching my own medical conditions, I became an expert on various aspects of medicine and especially the art of the nurse, how she not only does best by her patient medically but tends holistically to the patient. I loved many of the nurses I came into contact with, and it soon became clear to me that in order to pay it forward, to become the full person I was meant to become, is to, in turn, be that nurse for others in times of need. I want to be that nurse that smiles and brightens the day of someone, even if for a moment, who is going through a life crisis. It is that smile that can carry a patient over and aid in the overall healing process. I truly believe that being a nurse entails not only a patient's physical needs but their human needs. And a nurse should have compassion, empathy, and total respect for each and every one of her patients. I remember, years later, the nurses who were that caregiver for me in my times of need. I want to be that for someone else, and I will promise to go above and beyond to make sure that each and every patient makes sure they feel they are not alone. That I have compassion and caring for them, and that I will do everything possible to see they get the best care possible. Most everyone in life has had to be hospitalized or has had medical care. It is usually not a pleasant time during these situations, and the experience is something that remains with the person for a long time after the actual event. The doctors involved, and especially the nurses, who have a lot of contact with the patient, are remembered by the patient. It is important for the nurse to be that patient's advocate. I remember my advocates during my time of trial. If I can be that for someone else, then I will have attained my life calling. Being a mother of 3 children, and living off of one income, my husband's, we are very financially strapped. Any and all scholarships and financial aid are much needed and would be extraordinarily appreciated. 5. Career Goals Scholarship Essay Example. My name is Abigail Lopez. I am a student at Southeastern College completing an associate's degree in science and planning on transferring to a 4-year college or university. My educational aspirations consist of acquiring a bachelor's degree in any biological or health science that would assist me in pursuing a medical career as a doctor. On the other hand, my career vision is to one day be able to provide affordable healthcare to marginalized communities in the United States. However, I am certain that if I do not complete my college degree, I could never have the opportunity to achieve my career goals. I decided that I will attain a career as a doctor since my passion has always been assisting others and trying to improve their quality of life. Therefore, I think that pursuing such a career will provide me the opportunity to help improve the community's health quality conditions and learn about their medical needs. After becoming a certified doctor, I want to specialize in oncology, the study of cancer, and add my knowledge to the cancer research field. Furthermore, I want to contribute back to underserved populations in the U.S. that struggle every day to sustain a family, and who do not have as much access to medical assistance as other privileged groups. The first health project I want to accomplish throughout my career as a doctor is to establish a free clinic where affordable medical assistance can be provided regardless of the patient's immigration status. The diverse health services would include free doctor consultations, low price or free medication, and nutritional classes to prevent the presence of diabetes or heart disease. I also intend to provide an interpreter for patients in case they do not speak English and establish a financial assistance program to help patients who are not able to pay for any type of surgery that needs to be performed. The second biggest career goal that I want to accomplish is to establish a nonprofit organization where I can create internships for medical school students around the U.S. and allow them to travel to isolated communities around the world to provide free medical services. I also want to provide nutrition education to support these marginalized communities, especially indigenous groups from Latin American countries. This will help contribute to the physical development of kids and offer a solution to malnutrition. I know that all of my goals will remain dreams if I do not complete my medical degree. Therefore, I am committed to working hard in school and looking for opportunities that could help me make my goals a reality.
6. Scholarship Essay for Financial Need. My name is Brandon Noviello. I am currently a sophomore, and I am on track to earn my Bachelor of Arts in Sociology in 2 years. I'm in need of financial aid because I do not have a family to contribute to my education. I was in foster care for 2 years before I aged out of the system. And now I am pursuing a degree completely on my own. I was raised by a wonderful woman who didn't always have a wonderful life. My mother got pregnant after a sexual assault, but she was determined to raise a smart, successful man. She went through an accelerated program to graduate high school before I was born. She devoted the rest of her life to supporting me, both financially and emotionally. My mother had no contact with her family. They cut ties with her the moment she became pregnant. Life wasn't easy for us, but I never wanted for anything. She always found a way to keep me fed, dressed, and in school. Unfortunately, she lost a long-term battle with depression when I was 16, and I was put into the foster system until I reached adulthood. I did not have a positive experience with foster care, but I admit I had no desire to. My mother's passing weighed heavily on my mind, and I felt an overwhelming sense of anger, regret, and frustration. There was one gleam of hope in my experience, though. I had a great social worker. I fought her decisions every step of the way, and she still managed to find a family that would help me get through high school. My social worker attended my graduation ceremony. She was the only person I invited. She helped me realize how much one person's efforts can make a difference in the lives of others. I was only one of countless children she had helped over the years. I researched how to become a social worker so I could help other children like me. My plan is to work with the Department of Human Services in the Foster Care and Adoption Division after I graduate. In order to make my dreams a reality, I need financial aid. I am working as a server to pay for food, utilities, and basic necessities, but I do not earn enough to pay for college as well. Serving gives me the flexibility to go to school during the day and work at night. Furthermore, I have a maximum Pell Grant to cover most of my tuition, but I still need help with other expenses. I did not do well in high school as a result of my mom's passing, but I have done well in college. I have a 3.25 cumulative GPA, and I have never made less than an A in a degree-related course. As such, I am committed to being successful despite my circumstances, and I want to help young people find that motivation within themselves. I look forward to working with children and teens in the foster system, so I can be the hope that someone else was for me.